Why are you guys here?
Because we're pissed off!
If you're not pissed off, you're not paying attention.
My favorite sign was all our grievances are connected. There's so many different problems in our society right now. We can't just say, oh, this is it, and we can do this, and that will solve the problem. There's really, we have to attack it from all different ways, and we have to be out in the streets.
Right.
Totally.
What would we want to see 5 years from now from the Occupy movement, all those things, or this movement to go on to be a greater voice in Washington, like a lobbyist group or something?
I don't even go there. And I think a lot of these people, especially the younger ones, don't go there. It's like, it's not about let's introduce the bill. It's like, it's not working. People who are there are not there for us. We need to get a grip on that.
So would you say that we need to change the people that are representing us, or do we need to speak more loudly to them? So you're saying the restructuring of a...
For radical change, I actually would be more for, like, if we could increase the marginal tax rate, you know, it's not happening. No, it's not happening.
No, because the corporations own the government. I mean, that's what corporations
Right, right.
Well, you can't do it through government.
So you would want to dismantle our entire system of government right now in an option for what? Like, what would you rather
I
have?
don't know, but I think the fact that, okay, so I don't know if she doesn't know, she doesn't know, she doesn't know.
Well, that's okay that you don't know. You don't have to dislike something and have a solution for it. You could still dislike what's happening.
Yeah, it's true. I was telling the guy earlier, it's a different paradigm. They're so disorganized. They don't have lists of grievances or whatever, but it's not about that.
Right.
Like, it's the process that's happening as it's happening. We don't have to have a goal A, B, C, D, and then the steps to get there. It's non-hierarchical. It's a whole different paradigm.
Right. Okay.
So I don't have to know exactly how we're going to get
No,
there.
you don't. Well, I thank you.
We'll figure it out as we go along.
I thank you. My website's New World Orgasm.
New World Orgasm? Oh, fabulous. I love orgasm.
You come here obviously because this is important to you. Can I ask you a couple questions on camera?
Okay.
And I'm glad that you're in support of Bradley Manning.
Huge symbol of transparency that we're not seeing anymore.
Right.
Overwhelming secrecy in government and kind of thing we want to end.
What's your name?
Nathan.
What would you say to people who have this misconception of the youth not really having a clear message?
I mean, I think the message is pretty clear that voting and just waiting for Democrats and Republicans to do the work for us is not happening anymore. I mean, a lot of people are realizing that. That's why they're here.
Right.
As long as nuclear power plants exist, there are nuclear workers who are in jeopardy, in hostile, as well as the people who live around the plants and everywhere. And the workers cannot strike because in order to maintain the nuclear power to run safe, Tokyo Electric.
Right. Okay. What would you say to them if you could say something, a clear message to them about?
They have to stay outside to clean up everything, but also compensate.
Okay.
I've actually been involved with some time with an organization called Students for Sensible Drug Policy, SSDP.
Okay.
I started chapters at Louisiana State University and over at the New School in
Okay.
New York. Basically what we believe is that, drug addiction and drug abuse should be treated as a public health issue,
Yes.
not a criminal justice issue, and that drug use in the form of, not abuse, just casual recreational drug use should be treated as an issue of personal choice. I mean, human beings should be allowed to put into their body what they choose to put into their body as long as they don't, harm other people. So, I mean, essentially we just want to transform drug policy on the whole in the United States, legalize soft drugs and then start treating hard drug use as the public health issue that it is, not as a criminal justice issue.
And may I ask you what your name is?
My name's Sam,
Sam, how old are you?
22.
22? It's really great to come down here of the lies that the media's been telling, that the kids that are down here don't have a clear and important message. And you do. And I'm glad that you spoke to me today. Sam, thank you so much.
Sure. I mean, drug policy reform is just one issue of many.
Right, yes. Is there anything else you want to say about Occupy?
Well, obviously, I support the general message of income inequality and the systemic problems that have led to it and needing to
Right.
address those. Well, with the war on drugs, I see a lot of, especially when it comes to marijuana, is you get this issue of corporate control of the government. They control its special interests, moneyed interests have over our legislative process. And I don't know, right now, I don't know if you've seen the latest polls that have come out. The latest Gallup poll says 50% of the United States supports legalizing marijuana. 50% of the United States supports legalizing marijuana, yet you only find a handful of the 400-something members of Congress who will come out and support legalizing marijuana, despite the fact that half of the country supports that. And that's, why could that possibly be? If we're going to say that electoral politics is the way to solve problems, then why is this not being addressed by, a larger percentage of our Congress? And the reason is, the pharmaceutical industry, the alcohol industry, the tobacco industry, they all have a vested interest in marijuana staying illegal.
Yes.
And they will, continue to influence government the way that they can with their money.
People who are here are students and educators from the City University of New York, and we're in support of MAYDAY because we think that this is really an opportunity for us to bring together a whole range of issues that in many ways are not being settled in and managed in the way that people are capable of, not only in this country but around the world.
Yes.
We, in our experiences as students and as teachers, see that the way that our administrators run a city university system, it makes no sense. It's bureaucratic. It doesn't take into account the really exciting joy of teaching and learning. They're just concerned with what the bottom lines are.
So what would you want to see from this movement?
Well, I think that we can take a lot of inspiration from the student strikes in Puerto Rico, in Chile, and in Quebec.
Okay.
Just recently, one of the main student movement organizations in Quebec, during their strike right now, they put out this statement saying, we need for the student strike to turn into a social strike. So students have only a certain amount of capability to shut down things, to transform things. When we see that the Board of Trustees, the presidents, the administrators, in collusion with the state and with the federal government, decreasing the budget, they're wanting to put a public university up for auction. And what we're trying to do is to really, with activities like this, and with involvement in the Occupy movement, we're trying to show that schools, universities, K through college, that needs to be an incredibly important site of people taking, in many ways, our future into our own hands.
Yes, education is extremely important, and accessibility to education is even more important.
Right on.
I really thank you so much for your
totally.
interview.
Happy MAYDAY.
Listen, I'm gonna happy MAYDAY.